Hi, welcome to Pwrmums podcast. Today we are joined by Sarah Whyte from Tiny Tot Snapshots. Welcome to the podcast, Sarah.
Thanks very much. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure.
Do you mind telling us a bit about Tiny Tots and where it came from?
Sure. Well, we were, I think, very lucky to get pregnant first time around, and even luckier to get pregnant second time around.
Sarah's pregnant. We need to make that clear.
Yes, this is not circuit breakaway. This is a baby. So we definitely had challenges in getting pregnant first time around, and it meant that when we had our baby, we were just really excited about all those milestones and really soaking up every minute and being very present with her and what she was achieving. And we were lucky to be gifted. I mean, we got 3 sets of milestone cards, we got a milestone blanket, and we were like, oh, this is great. We ended up using them all because there wasn't one which had all of the milestones we needed. And we found that there was a conversation between myself and my husband when we did something. We were like, oh, wouldn't it be nice if there was a card for the first time we took it to MBS? Or wouldn't it be nice if when we go into the Art Science Museum we could have marked that? Because I'm British, he's Australian, we've both been in Singapore a long time, and it was really the case that because we had our daughter here and the next one's arriving here as well, we do feel really connected to Singapore. So we were like, oh, wouldn't it be nice if we had Singapore milestones in there? But then also, wouldn't it be great if it had all of the milestones that we needed in one set? So that's really where it came from. It came from our discussion about, oh, wouldn't it be great if? And also thinking, well, if we're having these conversations, probably other parents are having these conversations too. So what started out as something initially for us to use spiraled very quickly into this could be something that other people would be interested in using.
Yeah, and I think absolutely they would be. And so what pushed it from an idea to a reality?
So that's really been the silver lining of COVID and the pandemic. So with what I do normally, my business focuses on well-being and resilience. I work as a facilitator and a speaker and a coach with organisations, with international schools, with families. My doctorate is all around emotional intelligence and supporting third culture kids. And so when the pandemic hit, the work that I had all lined up suddenly went, because companies were in panic mode, schools were doing online learning, which was just really difficult for everybody. Parents were in survival mode as well. So had a lot of work cancelled, a lot of work on hold. Silver lining, I got to spend a lot of time with our daughter, which was lovely, but also it gave us time to actually think, well, let's do this, let's kind of put this together and see how it works. Gave me time to set up not just the cards themselves, but also everything around the cards, like the the Etsy shop and the social media accounts and all those things that you think will take 5 minutes.
And that's
actually take a while.
Yeah. And it takes quite a leap of faith to make something go from an idea into a reality. So were there challenges?
Yeah, for sure.
A few?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I produce cards in my business anyway, so the actual production part of it was fairly straightforward. I think the challenges for me, definitely hitting at the time when I was pregnant, and that brain fog and general tiredness, and even simple things took forever was definitely a challenge I was having. But the biggest challenges for me have definitely been around the marketing, the social media, just getting it out there, because it's something that you have to do so frequently, and you really have to be on it. In fact, we had that conversation about people who are Instagram influencers. We were like, it's loads of work, isn't it? Like, it looks really glamorous, but just to have a product that you're constantly talking about, thinking about, and promoting, yeah, that's the biggest challenge. It's not something that comes naturally to me. It's something I've had to work on with my own business, and I'm still having to work on it now. So yeah,
it's hard, isn't it? Because you can't just post every single day the same thing.
No.
It has to be different and exciting. Even if it's about one product, you have to show it in all the different aspects of it.
Totally, and you want people to be engaged by it, and you think, oh, I'm going to be a bit funny. A lot of people are going to think it's funny. I think I'm hilarious. A lot of people are going to think it's funny, maybe not. So yeah, I think it's just a case of sitting down and really planning that out. As much as it looks spontaneous on social media, it's really not.
Here I am at MBS, luckily I have my card.
Just happened to Yeah. So yeah, I think definitely just all those little things of getting posts, using the right hashtags, who are your audience, knowing who to actually get in touch with. Like for us, because it's still early days, it's very much trial and error. So it's thinking, is it new mums, or is it new parents, or is it people buying gifts for new parents? Like who? And I think at the beginning you have to cast your net a little bit wider, and then gradually narrow down when you get that feedback and see who's interested.
And I think actually, not that I'm a business expert, but it's kind of all those people, right? Because for a lot, you didn't have this idea before you had a kid. It was after you had a kid that you thought that would have been great. And so for me as a mum of one, I'm like, oh yeah, that would have been really cool. Like my favourite one is the first brunch.
Oh, do you know what? That comes up a lot.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, we love the Singapore milestones. They're great. That first brunch is amazing.
It's just the one that would make you go, I've got to buy these.
I think especially for the moms who have not drunk, who maybe are breastfeeding and haven't drunk, and then the first brunch you get to go to, it's wildly exciting.
Yeah, because they spent the whole morning power pumping to get enough milk.
Yes, we can all relate to this. So we did our first brunch with my parents actually. They were here about this time last year.
Was it wild?
Well, not after several months of not drinking. It wasn't. I had to be very careful. But we took our little one with us, and it was perfect. She was at that age where she just slept, stayed still. Those days are gone now. But we were like, we just had a card. That would be amazing. So one of the first conversations we had about this was, we've got to put first brunch in there. Like, it's such a Singapore thing, having those brunches.
Absolutely.
Definitely got to include that.
Definitely. So apart from the first brunch, what's your favourite card?
Favourite one? Probably slept through the night for the first time.
Is that your favourite as a mum?
As a mum, I'm like, definitely slept through the night for the first time. But I do love the Singapore ones. I like that we've got first trip on the MRT in there. But I've also put a few cheeky lockdown cards in as well, just for those babies that are, now turning up as a result of circuit breaker and lockdowns and all those long days.
You can resonate with that.
Nothing better to do. Well, just a post circuit breaker baby here. we just made it out of there. But I think just the fact that we've got such a range of cards is really nice. We've got occasions as well, things like Chinese New Year, and Halloween, Christmas, Easter. We've got all of those in. But another thing that, again, having used the cards and having to sort through them when you're completely sleep deprived, you're like, oh, there's a milestone day, like she's 9 months, but let's find it. The other thing I've also included is checklists. So you can just pull those out and you can see which ones you've done, which ones you haven't yet. See, as a parent, as a non-parent, I would never have thought about this. As a parent, we were the ones who were like, oh, we've missed the whatever it was. Let's just do it now, backdate it, even though she's like 3 months past that point. And I think when you're operating under sleep deprived conditions, you just want to make sure that you catch all those moments and you don't miss them, because there's definitely a couple that we missed and we were kicking ourselves that we'd missed them. Just out of tiredness and not really thinking.
And the brain fog.
The brain fog, which just continues for months, doesn't it?
Yes. And that the cause of the brain fog is your daughter. So how did you manage starting Tiny Tots and being mum? What did your days look like?
Winging it a lot of the time.
I like the honesty.
I think that there are so many people who look like they've got it all together and it's really effortless. Winging it and just not, I think going into it and not really having any preconceived ideas about what that would look like. I mean, I've got the advantage that I work for myself, and so work is flexible. I don't need to be at a desk. I was a teacher before this, so that's a very inflexible timing in terms of you have to be at school by a certain time and you can't leave until a certain time as well.
And for people that don't know teachers, that is not 9 till 3.
No,
that is like 7:30 a.m. till 6 p.m.
Yes, that's it. Well, 7 a.m. till 6
p.m. Oh, my sister's a slacker.
You're pretty close. So for me, it was awesome having that balance in terms of I could give her breakfast. And then we have our amazing helper, and we are so aware of what an amazing privilege it is to have a helper who lives with us full time, who cooks, who does the housework, who does a fabulous job with our daughter. It just gives us time. I think the time that we would spend doing those jobs, we can then spend with her. So I think it was really just a case of playing it by ear, seeing how it went. One thing that I definitely plan to do differently this time around is to have very much more formal maternity leave. I didn't really have a plan for it last time. I was like, I'll just see what happens. And my husband would come in and be like, oh, you know, how's work been? And she was 8 weeks old, and I was like, I haven't done anything, because all I've done is try to stay awake. You know, I've managed to write one thank you card, and that's been my entire day. So I think knowing what it's going to be like, or having a better idea at least, sure it'll be different, having a better idea of what that's going to be like, having that formal maternity leave booked in, and then just to kind of ease back into work for me, hopefully will reduce a bit of the stress that happened last time from being like, when I was with her, I was thinking, oh, I should be doing some work. And when I was doing work, I was thinking, oh, I should be with her. But I think, yeah, look, it's a pretty good balance. It's worked out pretty well. We've managed to set up some really nice play dates with other babies the same age, so our helpers meet up. They all hang out together, which is really nice for them. They now just organise that themselves, which is marvellous. Yeah.
And you're in like the best one of the best condos, like known for families. And,
and that was the point of moving. So we lived, we used to live right opposite Doxon Hill, Pinnacle. So we lived opposite there, and it was this amazing place. It's a couple, all those like really cool restaurants, bars, and it was amazing. And I did not want to move because I moved around when we were pregnant. So we moved here, and then when we had the baby, I was like, yeah, that absolutely makes sense. Like being next to the river, being around so many other families, and there's always, I mean, I know there's 2 other people in the condo who are expecting babies in March who I've been put in touch with. So already, a little network of mums who, you know, you can WhatsApp at 3 in the morning when you're all up feeding.
That's like party hour. That's when I did my best Lazada shopping. All that stuff I really needed.
And the packages arrive and you're like, quickly put them away before anyone sees.
Or you're like, what is that again? You check and you're like, oh yeah. I do remember buying 200 balls for a ball pit. I don't even have a ball.
It's just like a surprise every time a package arrives, right? You never know what to expect.
You never know what to expect. It's great.
Especially when you've had very little sleep and you're like, wow, this is a good idea.
Yeah, it's like a great idea.
I can't believe I ordered this, but it's really helpful.
Yeah. And I think that's so nice being here and not having the support network of a family, especially in kind of COVID times when we can't get back to our families easily and we can't have parents coming over. It's so nice to have a community of mums to support each other.
It becomes even more important, I think. We've always said that as expats that your friends become your family because you don't have your family around you, at least not frequently, not every day. And that's also the benefit of having our fabulous helper, is that things that my parents would have been involved with and done, and Paul's family would have been involved with and done. You know, she's been there and she's been fantastic. Yeah. So yeah, big difference.
Helpers are worth their weight in gold. I feel like she's my tita. I call her tita because she makes me function so much better.
I actually said to my husband, or I think said to my husband recently, I would be alright if you left, I would not be alright if she left. That's true. In a moment of like massive sleep deprivation, I was like, this household would not function. And we know that Circuit Breaker, she was like our most valuable team player in this household. She was amazing. So yeah, we're very grateful for her every day.
Yeah, she's brilliant. She's brilliant, yeah.